Hi there, Paige here from the Impact Copywriter and the Sales Funnel Shop. And today we're going to talk about email newsletters and more specifically, how you can get more subscribers for yours. Now, before we get started, let's recap the basics for anyone who's like, what is an email newsletter? So it's simply an email that you send on some kind of frequency, whether it's weekly or bi-monthly, every 2 weeks, or once a month, or some other frequency with a bit of information inside. And they're important to people who do online business or have online sales channels because your subscribers are your leads and you want to follow up with them, send them helpful content to build credibility, to build authority, to build trust so that they're more likely to buy from you later on. So they're more likely to become buyers. And like I said, you can send things like blog posts, videos, lead magnets, just an email with no links at all. That's just kind of like mindset shifts or things to help them kind of move through whatever is blocking them. And you can also send them things like updates about products or about your brand, and also promotions and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunity in email marketing, and your email newsletter can play a huge role in that. So the odds are you already have an email newsletter on your website, either through some kind of box or a section on your site or a pop-up or on your blog. And the problem that I see with most newsletters is they message it like, sign up for my newsletter, get my newsletter. And the thing about that is people don't want newsletters. Most people don't want newsletters unless they're already in love with your brand and they want to stay up to date with that. People don't want to read a newsletter, quote unquote. They really want what's inside. And so people aren't using that message to tell people what's inside. So there's really no incentive to sign up for it. So if you're using a newsletter to entice people to join your email list so you can sell them stuff later on and so you can build that relationship, that trust, that credibility, but you're not satisfied with your list growth, this is for you. And this is a way that you can improve that, right? So I'm going to share with you how to get more signups from your newsletter by turning it into a lead magnet, so to say, or positioning it as a lead magnet or a freebie. So before we get started, let's make sure that you understand that people are really motivated by two core things, and that's to solve specific problems, like how do I fix a Facebook ad campaign that doesn't convert? And number two is achieving some sort of outcome. So if we look at that a different way, we could say something like how to create a Facebook ad campaign that sells my online course. So that's when you're thinking about creating any sort of messaging, you want to make sure you're looking at problems and outcomes, because that's what motivates people to take action. So if you want to make your newsletter more enticing, you're going to start with your messaging. You're not going to say, sign up for my newsletter. That's super boring. It doesn't say that I'm going to get anything of value out of it. Why do I want more spam in my inbox, right? So remember, your newsletter is a container. It's just a format. What matters is what's inside, and that's what you have to message. That's what you have to communicate. So in other words, we're going to position your newsletter as a lead magnet, and we're going to use the same kind of techniques without actually creating a lead magnet, which can be a bit more time consuming. So I can show you an example. Let me minimize my head here. So there's definitely ways I can improve this, and I do have other lead magnets, so I haven't really touched this in a while. But when I was first starting out and I had a newsletter and that was the only list building opportunity or a way to get on my list, this is kind of the landing page or the headline that I used, and this is still live. So if you go to the impactcopywriter.com/free-hacks, you can actually still use this. So it's live and it continues to get subscribers. So for now, I'm not messing with it, but you can see I do say that this is the mostly weekly newsletter because I don't always email every week. But all I did was just shift it into what they're actually going to get out of being on my list. So get free funnel hacks 2 to 4 times a month. That was it. And that's not even, really tied to a problem or a solution. So I am working on some other kind of lead magnets to following the tips I'm going to share in this video. But I just want to show you like a simple way that you don't say sign up for my newsletter. So this is focused on what they're going to get out of the newsletter. And I could take this even a step forward by saying what problem I'm going to solve or what outcome these emails help them do. And actually, I might say that on another sign up page that's a little bit different, but still goes to the newsletter. Oh, see, here I've messaged it more like get free tips to help you sell more digital products and programs 2 to 4 times a month. So here we're, targeting that outcome, which is sell more of your digital products and programs. So this is just 2 examples of how you could, in a really simple way with very little like copywriting skill, position your newsletter or the message or how you're messaging your newsletter into kind of a what do I get out of it kind of thing. All right, so let me bring my head up here. All right, so you're probably wondering like, how do I go about doing that? So I'm actually going to share some tips with you. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decide who your ideal customer is and really narrow in on who you want to speak to with this message, because you may find out, depending on what your business looks like, that you need to make different messages for different groups of people. So, if you're selling to SaaS companies versus course creators and you help both, you're going to have to message those differently, because course creators want to sell courses and SaaS companies want to sign up more users. So that's very different language. And so you may need like 2 different kind of messages for those people, even though they might end up on the same list, but probably not because they're so different. But even if they could end up on the same list, you could use, different opt-in boxes and different landing pages for those, just to change the message, so that you're really speaking to those people in a way that's going to get them excited and grab their attention. So then step 2 is to figure out what your ideal customers really care about. So remembering they want to solve problems and they want to achieve specific outcomes. So really diving into those problems and outcomes. And one great way to do this is using online conversation mining in relevant Facebook groups. So all you do is go into Facebook groups dealing with where the people you're trying to reach are hanging out. And you can use their kind of search function in the left hand sidebar there and search for specific keywords to help you find kind of conversations related to those specific keywords, where you can look for problems and look for outcomes and use that language to help you craft your message later on. So once you have a strong understanding of the problems people are suffering from, the most relevant problems or the most painful problems and the most desired outcomes, then you can look at how do those overlap with the content you're going to share. And of course, the content you're going to share is related to what you do as a business. So the courses you sell or the service you provide, or your membership content, or the coaching packages that you sell. So you want to make sure that there's a strong alignment there, so that you're not making messages that are going to attract the wrong people. So look at what problems and solutions your products and services actually solve, and then look at how they overlap with the problems and solutions you found in your online conversation mining. And there you'll find a really strong sweet spot. And then now that you have your sweet spot either problem or outcome, and you understand who that customer is, and you have a clear idea of who that person is going to be, then I recommend that you use some headline formulas to brainstorm amazing, attractive headlines. So if you're not a copywriter, and I'm assuming you're not, easiest way is to Google search headline formulas and find some different options, and then just brainstorm using that information that you found in the other steps to write 20, 30 different headlines, and then go back through those and find the ones that sound the strongest. All right. And then, so then you have your messaging, and you can create a landing page. So you need to promote it, right? So I always recommend you have a dedicated landing page that can be shared across the web. So if you're going to do different messages for different customer groups, you'll need multiple landing pages so that you can share, the one for course creators with course creators and the one for SaaS companies with SaaS companies. But also make sure that you have opt-in opportunities in your sidebars on your blog, maybe also in the footer on your blog, exit intent pop-ups. So when a visitor lands on your homepage, for example, and they decide they're not really going to move forward or do anything yet, and they go to exit, then a pop-up comes up that says, offer something, right? So you might offer them to join your newsletter. But again, we're going to use the message that you just came up with in the previous steps. And that's kind of how you maximize, people who land on your site, how you get more people onto your newsletter. So that's just some tips for that. And so at this point, if you're wondering, do I have to create a PDF or some other kind of download? You can create a freebie. That's more of a lead magnet strategy. So instead of positioning as a lead magnet, we're just creating a lead magnet, and then through automation, your email automation, we can add them to the newsletter. That's fine too, if that's the role or the path you want to take, but you don't have to. You can simply position the newsletter as a freebie. And that's by being really specific around what they're going to get out of that newsletter. And so, you can deliver like a series of blog posts, for example. If you want to get really specific, you can just, in your delivery email, once I sign up for that newsletter, in your delivery email, you can give them 5 blog posts or 5 links to 5 videos, or you can space it out to where they're getting, 1 email for 5 days about a specific topic, and then they go on the general newsletter list. So you're not really creating a lead magnet, you're just repurposing content you've already created, but you're really curating it so that it's useful, or so that it serves a purpose for the person who's just joined your list. So for your new subscriber. So if I was to create kind of a message around 5 ways to improve your sales page to sell more courses, that could go for my newsletter, but in my delivery email, I would want to make sure that I include those 5 links, right? Or links to 5 videos, or I could space it out over 5 days and do 1 email per day with the links to those videos or articles or whatnot, with the purpose, of helping them understand how to improve their sales page to sell more courses. So I'm not really creating a lead magnet. I'm just curating content around a specific scenario. And that's what I'm messaging, and that's what I'm delivering. So what matters is that you deliver what was promised. It doesn't have to be a PDF, right? How many people have a bunch of PDFs on their desktop that they've never really looked at before, and they've just gone in kind of the downloads graveyard, right? So it doesn't have to be a PDF. So it can just be, an email with a collection of blog posts, or of links to videos or whatnot. And what matters is that you deliver what you promise, because, they've trusted you, they've given you their email address. And if you don't deliver what you promise, you start to degrade that trust, that tiny bit of trust they've already put in your hands. And we don't want that, right? Because this is about trust building, and this is about building relationships so that people will buy from you later on, right? So voila, if you follow these tips in this video, you will have gone from a boring, unenticing newsletter to a strategic, smart, and attractive kind of lead magnet without creating one, with very little effort. And as a result of the way you message your newsletter, focusing on a specific type of customer and focusing on the problem and or outcome that they really want to solve or achieve, then you're going to get more subscribers to opt in to your list.